This journey dives into surreal palaces where imagination runs wild. Wealth feels infinite, and every frame pulls you deeper visually. And this is where it hits you right away. The scale is almost uncomfortable. The first exterior shots don't ease you in. They overwhelm you. These estates rise out of silence like monuments, not homes, stretching wide and tall as if space itself had to step back and make room. Every line is deliberate. Every angle feels controlled. Nothing is accidental here. The entrances alone tell a story. Massive gates, perfectly aligned, flanked by stone and symmetry so precise it feels intimidating. You don't walk toward these places. You approach them slowly, instinctively, lowering your voice even though no one's around. There's power in that silence, a quiet dominance that doesn't need to announce itself. And then the facades come into full view. Towering, flawless, almost unreal. Clean geometry mixed with classical weight, balanced in a way that feels timeless. This isn't luxury trying to impress. This is wealth that already knows it has nothing to prove. It becomes clear fast. This isn't just a house, it's a statement carved into space, a declaration of control, vision, and excess. Standing here, you don't wonder who lives inside. You wonder what kind of world creates something like this. And just when you think the exterior has said enough, the doors stop you cold. These aren't doors in the normal sense. They're oversized, heavy, and unapologetic. Thick stone slabs, brushed metal surfaces, deep carvings that catch the light differently with every step closer. You can almost feel the weight before they even move. This moment matters because it's the crossing point. One step forward and the outside world disappears. Noise fades. Time slows. It feels symbolic, like leaving reality behind and stepping straight into fantasy. The camera doesn't rush it either. It glides forward, slow and deliberate, letting the anticipation build. Every texture tells you this place wasn't designed for speed or convenience. It was designed for impact, for presence, for that quiet second where you pause and think, yeah, this is something else. Have you ever walked through an entrance that instantly changed how you felt? And then it opens up, completely. The first halls don't just greet you, they swallow you. Massive open spaces stretch in every direction, ceilings soaring so high they almost disappear from view. You don't hear footsteps here. They echo, bounce and fade, swallowed by scale. What stands out is the emptiness, and that's intentional. No clutter, no excess furniture, just space, symmetry, and balance working together. The architecture does all the talking. Wide marble floors reflect light like still water, creating mirror images that double the sense of size. Every reflection makes the room feel deeper, larger, heavier. You start to feel small, and that's the point. These halls aren't built for comfort. They're built to command. Silence hangs in the air, thick and deliberate, broken only by the sense that everything here is perfectly in control. The symmetry is almost hypnotic. Columns align, openings repeat. Nothing pulls your eye randomly. It all guides you forward, reminding you that this isn't just a space you walk through. It's a space that watches you back. So tell me, would you feel inspired here or completely overwhelmed? And this is where your eyes instinctively lift upward. The ceilings don't sit quietly above you. They perform. Vaulted domes rise in smooth, confident curves, layered arches stacking depth on top of depth. Classical in spirit, futuristic in execution, it feels ancient and advanced at the same time, like history rewritten with unlimited resources. Light becomes part of the architecture here. It slides across curved surfaces, spills into carvings, settles into grooves you wouldn't notice until it hits just right. Nothing is flat. Nothing is lazy. Every ceiling feels sculpted, intentional, almost ceremonial. What's wild is how restrained it still feels. No over-decoration, no chaos, just balance. Old world grandeur stripped down and rebuilt through modern minimalism. These ceilings don't overwhelm, they hover, quietly reminding you that luxury doesn't need noise to dominate. You don't just stand under them, you pause. because missing a detail here feels like missing the point. And then the space narrows, but the feeling expands. Arched corridors stretch forward, one after another, repeating with a rhythm that feels endless. Each curve mirrors the last, creating a quiet flow that pulls you ahead without asking. There's something hypnotic about the repetition. Step, echo, pause. Step again. The arches frame your movement like scenes in slow motion. No rush, no distraction, just forward motion through space that feels suspended. At some point, it stops feeling like you're walking through a building. It feels like you're moving through time, past and future folding together in stone and shadow. The camera drifts gently, respecting the silence, letting the architecture breathe. This is where the obsession shows. The walls don't simply hold the structure, they tell the story. Backlit carvings glow softly, etched stone patterns catch shadows at different angles, and subtle gold accents appear just long enough to remind you what level this is operating on. Every surface feels touched, refined, perfected. No blank walls, no shortcuts. These textures weren't added for function. They exist purely because they could, and that's what makes it feel unreal. The wealth here isn't loud, but it's relentless. Run your eyes along the walls and you notice layers, depth beneath depth, designs that reveal themselves slowly depending on where the light lands. It turns architecture into art, structure into sculpture. You start to realize something unsettling. This level of detail isn't meant to be noticed all at once. It's meant to be discovered over time. And that kind of patience, that kind of excess, it speaks louder than any price tag ever could. And here's where everything quietly comes alive. Light isn't just added, it's engineered. Skylights open the ceilings to the sky, letting natural light pour in softly, never harsh, never rushed. As the sun shifts, the space changes with it, shadows stretching, highlights fading, moods evolving. Then there's the artificial glow, indirect lighting tucked into edges, beneath steps, along walls. Nothing screams for attention. It hums. Soft halos outline curves. Glowing seams trace architecture like veins under skin. Light doesn't just reveal space here, it shapes it. What's striking is the contrast. Natural light feels honest, calm, and grounding. The artificial glow feels controlled, intentional, almost futuristic. Together they create depth, emotion, atmosphere. You don't just see these rooms and you feel them. And then you notice what isn't there. No overcrowding, no unnecessary furniture, just wide open rooms breathing in silence. Every piece placed with purpose, every space left untouched on purpose. This is restraint at its highest level. When you have everything, you don't need to prove it. Wealth shows up here through calm, not chaos. Through space, not stuff. The emptiness doesn't feel unfinished, it feels powerful. Silence dominates these rooms. Not awkward silence, commanding silence. The kind that slows your steps, lowers your voice, and makes you aware of every movement. It's a luxury that doesn't beg for attention, it expects it. And this is where it all comes together. The soul feels ancient, but the execution feels ahead of its time. Classical palace energy, arches, domes, symmetry, fused seamlessly with futuristic materials, clean lines, and modern restraint. Nothing feels dated, nothing feels trendy. It exists in between, timeless. It belongs everywhere and nowhere at once. You see echoes of old empires, but they're stripped down, reimagined, rebuilt with precision that only modern design allows. No budget limits, no structural compromises, just pure vision brought to life. It's architecture without boundaries, blending history and possibility into something that feels unreal, yet strangely believable. And standing here, you don't ask when this was built. You ask how far design can really go from here. And here's where everything starts to blur together, on purpose. The transitions between spaces are smooth, almost weightless. One room dissolves into the next without sharp cuts or harsh shifts. It feels like drifting, not walking, like the building itself is guiding you forward. What really stands out is the perfection. No cracks, no wear, no signs of time passing. Nothing decays here. Every surface looks untouched, preserved in a permanent moment of flawlessness. That's when it clicks. This world doesn't follow real rules. It feels imagined. Designed in a place where gravity, cost, and limitation don't exist. The camera glides as if afraid to disturb the illusion, and you start to realize this isn't architecture meant for reality, its architecture is meant for dreaming. By now, it's clear these mansions aren't homes in the traditional sense. They're symbols, statements carved out of space and light. Nobody lives here. These places exist to represent power, status, and control at its absolute peak. Everything is intentional. The scale, the silence, the way light is allowed in or held back. It's total dominance over the environment and beauty. Nothing happens by chance. Nothing exists without purpose. That level of control speaks louder than excess ever could. This is fantasy wealth, not measured in money, but in freedom. The freedom to build without limits, to design without compromise, to turn desire and ambition into physical form. At its core, this architecture reflects something deeply human, the urge to dream bigger, to reach higher, to imagine a world where perfection isn't chased, it's owned. So be honest. Is this inspiring or unsettling? By the end, it's clear these palaces aren't meant to be lived in, only experienced. They exist in that space between dream and desire, where imagination replaces reality. You don't leave with answers, just awe, and the quiet feeling you've glimpsed something impossible that lingers after the vision fades.